Since childhood, artist Rudy DeRam has had an interest in drawing, painting, and photography. In 2007, he established DeRam Photography, a source for fine art, high-quality, limited edition prints, and one-of-a-kind photographic art pieces. Joining us now is artist Rudy DeRam. Welcome to Community Connection.
Thank you.
And we have one of your pieces here, which is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
It's something that's taken quite out of context. How did you get interested in artifacts of the West?
It was something that I liked ever since I was a kid. I was that kid in school that would show up in the middle of summer with, cowboy boots and a buckskin coat. And it's something I just never outgrew. So I always loved the West. And then by the time I was like 9 years old, I got a little camera and I just started taking pictures. And at some point, those two things kind of merged together. Since 2007, my wife and I have been traveling extensively out in the West, taking pictures, and it's just been a fun experience for us.
Now, while you always had the interest in creating and art, it was not your vocation for a number of years. How were you able to kind of circle back to art?
Well, after 35 years as an industrial designer, I never got too far away from the fine art world. I was always involved in painting or some design aspect or something creative away from my industrial design job. So the photography was kind of a nice way to sort of incorporate some of my fine art background and my love of the West to bring those two things together.
And how do you find your subjects? Do you walk with the camera?
Oh yeah, well we do a lot of different trips out west. My wife and I usually take a road trip. We call them photo safaris. And we'll go out for a week or 2 weeks, sometimes longer. We've done some guest ranch vacations where we're actually at a ranch for a week at a time, and we go horseback riding, and we're out there with the wranglers, and I always have a camera ready, so I'm taking pictures of them working in their environment, so I really get realistic as possible these days, of Western themed images.
How has your process changed since you started shooting, I'm guessing, with film at age 9
yes.
to digital photography now?
Well, there was a transition period. You go from film and then you sort of have to catch up to the digital aspect of it. The nice thing is, you get to do everything on your computer in your own home. You don't need the chemicals in the darkroom that they used to have. Or if you didn't have the chemicals in the darkroom, you'd have to send away to get your prints done. So that's been really nice, being able to manipulate and work on your photos yourself. And I do all the printing and the framing myself as well.
And so how has that changed? Are you a little bit more fastidious when you take the picture or when you actually tweak it?
A little bit of both. I mean, I try to construct the picture when I'm looking through the lens as best as possible. But then there are times when I can come back and look at an image and crop in on it a little bit. And try to get the most out of that image that I think is there. And it might be through color, it might be through adding sepia tones, or as I said, cropping the image in a little tighter. So those are ways you can kind of enhance the
Which
shot
is
itself.
kind of what you've done with this boot.
Right, correct. Well, in this particular case, I think I got in pretty close to begin with because the spur was the interesting thing for me. And by cropping something out like that, you don't need to see the whole boot. A lot of it really has to do with your mind's imagination filling in the rest of the image. So it's a boot. You don't need to see the whole boot. And I think the spur and the texture and a little bit of the color adds the interest for the viewer.
It's quite fascinating. So you do have a website, DeRamphotography.com, but now your art creation has evolved even more and you have branched out into sculpture.
Right. That's something I just started dabbling with in the last couple of years. I think part of that comes from my industrial design background. I have a good sense of dimension and form, and I always admired the sculptors of the West. So I thought, let's give it a try,
And you have, in your subject matter, kind of latched onto those same type of images.
Right. I kind of pulled back into the Western theme as subject matter for the sculpting. So put together a little website for that, and it's been fun. It's only been a couple of years, and really enjoy it.
How different is that process in creating the three-dimensional art versus the image?
I think it, obviously in three-dimensional form, you move around the piece. You can look at it from different aspects. It's not just a straight on 2D view. You can come at it, from the top and the bottom and the sides, and really move around it and kind of enhance the texture and the quality of it.
And what's the best part about being a creator?
Having the freedom to sort of express, a vision that maybe you have, what you want to show the viewer. If I see something, it's interesting for me to kind of, help the viewer look at what I saw and maybe catch that same feeling the same way that I saw it for that first moment as the camera clicks the shutter.
Who are the people that buy your art?
A wide variety of people come to the art festivals and sales online. Sometimes it's just for, people will purchase it just for decoration purposes. Other times people will purchase items because it struck a chord. Maybe their grandfather had a farm, maybe their family had a ranch out west, or they've taken some special vacations and had special moments.
So it evoked a memory.
And it evoked a memory, so when they see something, they kind of want to bring that home with them.
Well, you have a list of where you're exhibiting, DeRamphotography.com. Rudy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
We wish you continued success.
Thank you, I appreciate it.